Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, a couple of reminders that I'm not your financial advisor and we never provide investment advice on this channel. If you're somebody new, thank you so much for joining. And, not sure how you found out about us, but we're glad that you're here. For anybody that's been here with us, from the very beginning or joined somewhere along the way, again, as always, glad to have you. So nothing to talk about in the way of review, no real big movement, across, any tokens. Obviously the big one that we talked about, before was the infinite money glitch. I don't know if I can find it here on this main page, but we'll see. Okay, I was trying to do a search, but it's not going to let me do that, while I'm recording, unfortunately. So, but, the main thing that I'll mention, in regards to the infinite money glitch, those kind of tokens, the reward tokens, and we'll obviously start to see, more of those, popping up, on the Solana chain, is that, obviously once the, once the volume starts to go ahead and dry up on those type of tokens, you'll start to go ahead and see, people start to jump ship and leave the token altogether, because obviously volume is the main, driver, of the rewards, so if you're starting to lose volume, then people are going to go ahead and start to see less and less rewards, and then people will start to go ahead and sell it off, obviously the peak for that one was, like almost 50 million, and now I think they're sitting at around 6 million, above 6 million, something like that. So they've obviously lost, a lot of, traction, in regards to that, but they're still, still doing massively well, sitting over 6 million. So just keep in mind, if you're going to go ahead and be trying to target some more of those kind of tokens, that if they don't have any real utility, it's just a rewards token, and without volume, you don't really, see, those real generous rewards, so like a lot of people were seeing when they were sitting close to their all-time high. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look. We're going to stay in discovery mode, for the most part today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to, we've already got my dashboard here the way I want it, and then we're going to go into the filters. And so I'm going to mess around with or focus, on Sol and ETH, today. Nothing to do on the Dex side, just because we've already got multiple chains selected. And we're not going to mess around with these yet. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put in our minimum liquidity amount, which is going to be $1,000. And then for the market cap here, minimum is going to be 50K. And, if you're somebody new, we typically have a standard, structure, that in terms of what we put in here in the filters, but there are times from time to time, that I'll go ahead and I'll make some adjustments so that we're, messing around with the filters and trying to produce, different types of tokens a different way. Okay. Instead of, just the standard, market cap, pair age, and that minimum 10% value, the 24-hour change. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go no longer than 500 hours, which is going to be, I think, somewhere around a month, maybe a little under, maybe a little over, somewhere like that. Okay, and then we're going to go to our 5 minutes, and what we're going to do, we're going to target at least, 10 buys within 5 minutes. And then we're going to also target no more than 20 sells in that 5 minute time frame as well. So let's see what we get, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so what do we have going on? We got over 50 tokens. I think what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and let's put a cap, here on the market cap. Let's go to a million. Let's see what we get there, because I don't want to be working with a lot of tokens. So okay, 32, that works for me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and adjust, okay, so we're already adjusted by the 5 minute here in this window or in this column. All right, and then we're going to see what we get. Now, some of these tokens, may or may not have Telegram communities. If they don't, we're not going to mess with those, right? So let's see here. We're not going to really mess with any of the money glitch tokens, just because, again, the money glitch thing, that was obviously a derivative, of the success from the infinite money glitch, so, but we will look at some other ones, so we've got Grok's first meme. Let's see what that is. The new coronavirus, that's the HKU5. I don't believe they've got a community, but we'll take a look and just to confirm that or not. Magnum Smite Sniper Bot, sure, we'll take a look at that one. Let's see here. And is this another? Okay, so if we've got two HKUs, I don't tend to mess with any ones that have duplicates, so that's an HKU5, that's another one, because it's kind of hard to know right away, especially on video, which one's the OG. So yeah, I just don't even mess around with it. You're more than welcome to do that if you like, but I'm not going to. And then we've got Doge Father, as well, Lazarus Group. So Lazarus Group, that would have been coming off of what took place yesterday, if you weren't aware, with Bybit getting hacked for, I think it was 1.5 billion in ETH, the largest in the history of crypto as far as like a crypto heist. So you're seeing the Lazarus type of tokens, show up, because I guess that's the group behind the hack. Let's see here. Let's see. Anything else? So I think we looked at this one the other day. This one, actually, I'll open it up just to kind of show you what's going on there. And health over wealth and life. This one, actually, I think I saw this one somewhere in that one, and I think I saw it like under 20K, so it's done massively well. But I think this was just reviewing some things this morning, and saw that I missed that one while I was sleeping. So, okay, so let's take a look here. This one, no Telegram. This one has a Telegram. Just scanning real quick to make sure they've got Telegrams. Okay, this one obviously would, because we already covered that one. And this one, no Telegram. This one, no Telegram. So, okay. This one is just more of a review one. I mean, again, I said there hadn't been really any ones that made any major moves. This one, nothing major. It's just that the chart looks really good, because I think we caught this one. Yeah, 173, as you can see, with the alerts. We caught this one. We found this one at 173. Obviously, the chart looks incredible. I mean, it looks really, really healthy. So are they going to continue to, move up? You're seeing, you're seeing highs, retracement, highs again, or at least recovering from the retracement, and then that pattern continues. So this looks like a really, really good chart. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. But the reason why I didn't talk about it as far as any review is because, again, we found it at 173. So it hasn't broke. I mean, it's touched over 300, but again, still looking for a 2x on this. And so at 173, hasn't quite touched the 3x or 2x yet. So, all right, so just highlighting that one for you. This, as you can see, according, to the banner here, the Lazarus heist, so, let's see here. So I'm going to take a look here at the chart. Chart looks okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll keep that one open. But, what were we doing, as far as how we've come across these particular tokens? Essentially, like I said, we're only targeting, tokens that are seeing at least 10 buys, in that 5-minute column, and then no more than 20 sells. So should be, at least in the last 5 minutes, tokens that are seeing more buys, without seeing massive amounts of sells. Okay. So that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see charts that are going to be just going up and up and up, but you should see, at least in the short term, and we're talking about that 5-minute window, more buy pressure than sell pressure. And so that's another thing that you can do, that's kind of the beauty, of utilizing these filters, right? And you can also adjust these numbers. You can adjust these numbers to whatever you want. It could be, looking at least 100 buys in the last 5 minutes, and maybe only 50 sells, right? So, and again, the reason why we do this is because we want to target tokens that are seeing more buy pressure, in the short term than sell pressure. So yeah, I mean, that's just another one of those things that you can do when it comes to the filters and targeting tokens. When I say the kind of tokens that you want to look for, maybe the question for you may be, well, how do I target tokens that are really getting a lot of buys and they're not really seeing a bunch of sells? But the other thing that you need to think about, when you're looking at those kind of tokens, is that at any point in time, that can change. So just because in the last 5 minutes, you are seeing, tokens that are seeing more buy pressure, well, I mean, the data is really more about, what's current, right? So here they're tracking, the last 5 minutes, here they're tracking the last hour, here they're tracking the last 6 hours, and here they're tracking the last 24 hours. But again, these metrics, it's all fluid, so they can change, on the drop of a dime. So just because something has seen maybe 50 buys in the last 5 minutes, and they've only seen, maybe half of that in terms of sales in the last 5 minutes. Well, you also have to consider that if people got early entries, before all that buy pressure came to the chart, at some point that sell pressure is going to hit the chart, right? Because that's what always happens. So it may be a little sell pressure, it may be a lot of sell pressure, but that sell pressure is inevitable and it's going to come, so you can't just look at, targeting or using those filters to target, this a chart that looks like this, where you're seeing, a good pattern in terms of buy pressure, because sometimes, you may go ahead and see somebody that's got a pretty hefty bag decide to go ahead and nuke, all that process or all that progress. And so if somebody throws a $2,000 sell, on this chart, that's going to be a pretty decent sell candle, so keep in mind, the filters do help to some degree, but it also does require, you to do some additional investigation, not just simply looking at the chart, but also going into the community and seeing what else is going on there. And, that may lead to you trying to employ a strategy that could be, okay, if I'm going to throw any kind of buy onto this chart, maybe that buy is going to be half of what you intend to invest. Now, as we've mentioned, many times on this channel, this is not a channel where we encourage you to invest on any of the channels associated, with Investment Honey or Crimson Skulls. No, at no point in time, are you ever encouraged to invest. It's more about just providing with information so that you can make an informed decision on as to how you would like to proceed, right? So always giving you those disclaimers, so that you understand you'll never find any shills on this channel. Everything's about trying to make sure that you are as informed as possible, as you consider proceeding into any token, should you decide to make that decision on your own. Now, with that said, we'll go ahead and we'll close this one out. But again, this token does look, like it's doing, it's doing pretty decently right now. But I also want you to pay some attention to something else before we leave this chart that you can see. Here, we're looking at this buy pressure. Everything looks really, really good, right? And everybody loves green. But what do we see here? We see this massive amount of sell pressure. And that's because early buyers, when the value of the bags go up, they need to, and this is just good practice, in crypto, you want to mitigate your risk. You want to sell your initials. You want to sell your initials plus some profit, and then leave a moon bag if you think that the token may have potential to continue to rise, right? So, and then we're down here at these bottom levels, and then we get a lot of sell pressure that comes into the chart. And then what do we get? Conversely, a lot of sell pressure, right? And then it continues to recover. So we head back on up, and everybody loves this because we all love to see the green. And then we get the sell pressure, and here we're getting a lot of that sell pressure again right here. And now they're trying to head back up. But what have I also told you guys in regards to a lot of these charts? When you continue to see runs on a chart, and we get a run here, we get another run here, we get another run here, I have mentioned before in several videos, it's hard to continue to ask a chart to keep that pattern up. It's a rare thing. If you take a look at Infinite Money Glitch, it's a good example where they saw several runs on that chart. And why did they see that? There was real, tangible value associated, with that particular token, where the more volume that they saw, people were actually making money on top of their positions in free SOL that was given to them just based on the volume. You don't always see that, you typically don't see that, in a lot of other tokens, right? So what's driving this? I mean, the Lazarus, the hack took place yesterday. So in fact, it's old news. So, and a lot of crypto tends to move, on current, news, right? So here, there's no real catalyst to keep this moving other than, we all know that it was this group, that did it, but there's nothing to actively continue to keep this moving. So even though they got ads going, they've got a boost, going as well. I don't really see this one doing, big numbers. I mean, sure, it's sitting at close to 100K, but I think at some point this is just going to start to head down because one, they've already had their runs, as I've already pointed out, and two, there's no real catalyst to keep this moving unless the Lazarus, the Lazarus group comes out and continues to keep their name in the news for something relevant that's attached to their own activities. But we don't have that, and you couple that with the fact that this is the weekend, slower volume, less trading taking place. And this is typically the time frame for when people get kind of antsy, on their bags, and they decide to go ahead and sell them away. So keep that in mind, that you've got a lot of things working against this at this point, and that, to me, leads to the conclusion, at least in my mind, that this is probably as good as it's going to get for this token, and we're going to see this one start to retrace quite a bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this one alone, and then we got the Magnum Sniper Bot. This one would have met our parameters set in the filters, which was at least 10 buys in the last 5 minutes and no more than 20 sells in that same time frame. Now, obviously, I've been talking about the other token, and so this one, still seeing some transactions, but interestingly enough, it's still within, that parameter that was set in the filters, but as far as this one's concerned, I'm not looking to go ahead and investigate this, but I am showing you, that here's the reason why you would utilize those particular filters, for your search purposes. All right, so, and you can see, we can also go ahead and adjust, we're sitting here at 50,000 to 1 million. And obviously, while I've been talking about, those other tokens, we've got new stuff that's showing up, right? So Basin, we didn't take a look at this one before. Time is money, didn't take a look at this one. Let's see here, 69 minutes. Which is interesting because we have talked about this one. I believe if it's the same one, we would already have alerts, for this one. Buzzcoin, we talked about the other day. Let's see here. This one's Kuto. I don't know what this is, but we'll open it up. All right, and so here they do have a telegram, and we can go to the 5 minutes, and we can see that there are some things that have changed. Well, actually, no. No, there aren't, because again, we wanted at least 10 buys and we wanted no more than 20 sells. So, all right, so this one, okay, maybe an uptrend starting to go ahead and form. All right, and again, not looking to jump into the telegrams on these. I am simply, taking some time to show you, hey, here's what we targeted, in the filters, and these are the kind of tokens that we're looking at. So maybe a possible uptrend starting to form on this one. I don't know. Time is money. So this one we can see uptrend forming on this one. We'll go to the 5 minutes and we can see, what are we looking for? We're targeting, stuff that hopefully, ideally has more buy pressure than sell pressure based on or as reflected by the filters that we use, right? And again, we didn't use anything that was really, big numbers. I mean, it was very conservative, 10 and 20, right? And then for this one, let's see here. If it's the one that we've looked at before, this should have had, socials, but this one doesn't, and it should have alerts. So yeah, this would be a different one. So if we go to the alerts here, let's see here, recently triggered. And so this is the 69 minutes one that we've looked at in the past. So you can see here that here are the alerts. Okay, so one alert. All right, and this one I think was set on the 4 days ago, so that'd be the 18th. Okay, and let's see here. So the 18th would be sitting right here. Okay, so they'd already reached their peak, which would have been around 600K, and so we saw this one at about 230. What was it? 233. So the 18th and 233. So basically not far from where it's currently at right now, right? So, and this one, again, I already had a couple of runs. Not sure if it's going to be able to do it again, but it's encouraging that it's still essentially sitting, at the entry point, a little lower, but essentially around there, right? So yeah. We're going to go ahead and close this one out. So Buzzcoin. So this one obviously still getting some activity. When did we find this one? We found this one, and this may be a derivative, because obviously I don't have the alert set. I don't think I got rid of this one, so yeah. But we did talk about a Buzzcoin, the other day, and Kudo here. And with some of these, another thing I want to point out to you guys is that when you're looking at some of these memes, definitely part of your research should be to be checking out to see if there's anything going on Instagram or TikTok, because if they got a social presence, and we're not going to know that just simply from looking at the chart here on Dexscreener, that may also signal that it may be a token that, depending on where it's at on the market cap, may be worth taking an additional look and placing a conviction, possibly in that token, especially if they've got millions of views, shares. They're meeting those metrics, where it looks like, hey, this is going viral, on social media, and now there's finally a token for it. So that's also something you don't want to ignore. Not really crazy about this chart, just because it looked like they had already, it looked like it was a rug, and now there's some buy pressure here. Clearly there are apparently still, buys coming into this chart, but I tend to avoid charts like this. I want to see more of a chart, where we're seeing some more activity. This is just looking at the 1 hour on this one. So if you go out to the 5 minute, you're seeing even more activity. But this one, to me, looks like probably one to avoid. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close these out. And like I said, the point is, I just wanted to go ahead and show you, hey, here's what you can do to target, some tokens that are seeing some buys, more buys than sells, that may, be showing signs of an uptrend, or showing signs of a community that isn't, really trying to just, dump the token. So all those things are kind of indicators, for tokens that you may want to go ahead and target. So now what we're going to do, we're going to move back into our normal discovery process. Okay, so which is going to be targeting nothing more than 500K, but we're going to go half of that for the moment. Okay, and then pair age, we're going to look at 1 to 30 hours. All right, so there we go. And then, as usual, we're going to go to our 24-hour change, which is going to be 10% minimum in that 24-hour column, and everything else should be open. Okay, so here we are. Doesn't look like more than 30. All right, so good. And what we're going to do, first of all, for anybody new, this is for you, just highlighting that we wouldn't have anything under 10% in this column. Okay, that's the reason why you place that 10% in that 24-hour minimum value box. Okay, but quick filtering, by the 5 minute, just to see where the most activity is going to be within the last 5 minutes. And then we're going to open up some of those tokens. So this one, we're not messing around with. Quantum Labs, sure. Pengu Pink, sure, we'll open that one up. And let's see, Steve Jobs coin, sure, we'll open that one up too. Symmetry, this is one I've been kind of watching, over the last, few days. Let's see here. Actually, it says it's only been up for a day, but there's been a different Symmetry token that I've been watching. And so yeah, it is not the same as this one. So yeah. But, not unusual to see, when you've got a token that's especially taking off, that's got a pretty decent presence on TikTok, and this one does have a pretty decent presence on TikTok, that when they do create a token on the blockchain, that you'll start to go ahead and see others show up. And then it's just really about, who wins the race in terms of, who's getting the most attention and traction. So you can see this one, after migrating from Pump Fund, just dropped like a rock, and then it just kind of stayed there, and now it is moving, so yeah, this is, I think I saw somebody talking about this one at like 19K yesterday, so they must have been talking about the one migrating, from Pump Fund. Okay, so that's this one, but we're not going to take a look at it because I know that there's more than one of these Symmetry tokens out there, but I'm putting it on your radar that maybe this might be one you might also want to take a look at too, because again, they do have a pretty decent presence, on TikTok, I believe, is the platform, and there have been a lot of people talking about, Symmetry. So, okay, so we're going to close that one out. This one, I don't really care for the chart, so we're going to leave that one alone. Quantum Labs, it doesn't look too bad, but they don't have a Telegram, And then for this one, do not care for the chart on this at all. So yeah, this is not the sign of a healthy chart. So, and this is all part of the filtering process, guys. So we're going to come across some that, days where we have a bunch of tokens where we're going to look at that really have good looking charts. And then we got days, I think we experienced this, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where a lot of stuff that we looked at just wasn't that good. Okay, but that's just kind of the ebbs and flows of this stuff, so we're going to go out, to 51 to 500. Okay, and then see what we get. All right, so, and then if we don't really get anything looking at this, then we'll go ahead and we'll move the needle in regards to the pair age, and we may get some other stuff that might be worthwhile. Okay, so let's take a look here. This is sick of all rugs. We've seen this a few times already this morning. We'll go ahead and we'll open it up. Let's see here. Kudo, we already looked at that. Most valuable currency. This one didn't have a community. Let's see here. AI links, sure. Retard, no, we're not doing that. Corona. This is another coronavirus, maybe associated token. Maybe. We'll take a look at that one. And then I think that's it for that. So let's see what we got here. Sick of all rugs. Okay, this one actually doesn't look that bad. Okay, so let's see here. 15 minutes, and this one does not have a community, so we're going to leave that one alone. And then here for the Corona, the chart doesn't look terrible, right? So, but I don't like all the sell pressure I'm seeing here. So the only reason why we probably follow this one is if they had some other things going on in the Telegram to try to help move this token, which I am somewhat, skeptical about, because there's not a lot going on here in the 5 minutes, and we're almost at minus 30 on the 1 hour. So, okay, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back into our filters, and we're going to change our pair age from 31 to 120. Okay, so that should take us about a week out. All right, so here we go. And let's see what we get. We got a couple of hurricanes, not interested in that. Hippie, snow coin, we're definitely not touching that. And fart club, sure, we'll take a look here. And let's go back in here. And we're going to go back to our initial numbers, 50 to 250. So we're working backwards, okay? And the reason why I'm doing that is because we adjusted our pair age. So we didn't cover this market cap frame, or time value frame, in this pair age parameter. So there we go. And let's see, anchovy community. I think this one was talking about like a small fish and, trying to, it's a community oriented token, I believe. And I think they're trying to make financial contributions essentially to the planet, I think is what this one is, so I'm going to open that one up. This one, I don't know what that is, but we'll open it up. And let's see here, February 26th, Slimia. I don't know what that is. Okay, we're not going to worry about that one. GPT 4.5, sure, we'll open that one up. We already looked at Grok's first meme. Quantum chip, we've looked at that one before. Okay, alternative for degens, sure, we'll take a look at this one. Collab coin, I think we've looked at that before. What is this one? Where did that one run off to? Okay, so this one's got a bunch of duplicates, so we're not going to touch that. Frog, I think I saw this one on TikTok the other day. Actually, we're going to close this one out because we can see right away there's no activity, so we're going to leave it alone. Okay, so here we go. So we're good. So this one's okay. Fart Club. We have taken a look at this one before, so we're going to leave this one alone. So yeah, this one, not a ton of movement. I think I looked at this one yesterday, just kind of doing some browsing around, and it really hasn't moved very much. But the one thing that's very encouraging about this particular token, overnight, this still didn't dump. So there seems to be, for now, some real conviction in this token by the community. One of the concerns that I do have is because I've seen this before where they'll sit, and it will really kind of show some solid levels. And then when you think it's safe to go ahead and jump into it, then it dumps, so this one's one I think that if it was me, and I was going to take a look at this, I'd throw, again, maybe a couple of bucks, on the chart, and then just kind of see what happens over the next couple of days. The weekend, I've mentioned time and time again, it's just an iffy place for me because people tend to, there's a lot more sells that take place, in my personal opinion, just in regards to my own observations, over the weekend. And people they just get antsy, and they decide that, hey, this isn't doing anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump out. And that's how you can see a chart like this just start to go ahead and see some massive sells. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I am saying that I've seen it happen plenty enough before where I would say, if it's me, I would probably watch this for a couple of days. Even Monday to me is not really safe because you still tend to see, a lot of sell pressure even on Mondays. You'll see more tokens launching and deploying, on Monday, but you're also going to see some of these tokens that have kind of held through the weekend. Monday's the day that they'll go ahead and they'll dump, so I'd say if it can last, through Monday and still keep these levels, I'd say that's probably a pretty positive indicator that this is probably going to head up. But I'm inclined to believe that looking at this, we're probably going to see, even though it's sitting here at 143, if there's no catalyst to go ahead and move this one, I think this is probably going to be under 100K by the end of the day on Sunday. And maybe worse, so we'll see. All right, so that's my thought there. Then looking at this one, it doesn't look too bad, but nothing going on in the 5-minute. No Telegram though, so we're going to leave that one alone. This one, no Telegram, here either, so we're going to leave this one alone. And this one is the alternative for DGens. I don't really care for the chart, and nothing going on in the 5-minute, nothing really going on here in the 1 hour. So we're going to close this one out too. All right, so it looks like the ones that we got to look at today are going to be just a few tokens, and then we're going to go ahead and call it, because like I said, we've used a number of different filters. We're on multiple chains, on Solana and ETH. And so there just really hasn't been a lot to really look at today, unfortunately. So, all right. So with that being said, and some days we're going to have that happen. That's nothing to be discouraged about. We've done more than 60 plus days, in this series, and we've had plenty of days where we found, stuff to go ahead and track and look at. So keep that in mind. There will be days where we're just not going to have a lot to look at. And also keep in mind, there have been days where I've decided not to do a video because it just wasn't a good day to do a video in terms of what was available, on Dexscreener as a platform. So, all right, so let's jump into the channels and see what we got going on. Okay, so here we are. Let's see here. We're looking for a buy, within the last, 5 minutes, since it doesn't look like we get a portal. Okay, so anything I'm seeing here as far as the time frames, I've got 12:22 on my clock, but we can see even just going up here, 11:57, we're not seeing a buy bot activate. Okay, now, but it doesn't mean that we're going to leave this one alone. And the reason why, because I want to make sure. Okay, so we're still seeing activity taking place, here. Okay, so it's just not triggering on the buy bot. Now, also keep in mind, in some channels, and you may not be aware of this, but if they've got their buy bot to trigger where the buy has to reach a certain threshold amount, then you won't see the buy bot actually activate, in the channel. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we're not looking for buys at this point in terms of like in the last 10 minutes. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just looking for other catalysts, in terms of marketing, any kind of trending, any kind of rating. So they've got nothing going on here in regards to any of that. So I don't find that to be a positive in my personal opinion. All right, and so there's nothing going on there. So in terms of, what's bringing in the buys to this chart, it's just going to be this little boost that they've got going on. So for this one, for me personally, I'm not going to go ahead and mess with this one because one, there's nothing, there's no engagement of the community in the channel. There's no trending. There's no rating going on. Clearly, we don't see anything, at least I didn't check that, but we'll take a look real quick. Didn't see anything, that would indicate that, and here we got somebody. Okay, so maybe even here they're asking, sold trending or 300x boost. Okay, and so they're getting, some replies. You can right click here and you can, go ahead and look at the replies. All right, so hard choice, sold trending, good morning, how can I get a text from you? Did you get this? Okay, so there were questions, in regards to it, but they haven't done that. All they did was a 20x, so. Okay, so for this one, even though the chart doesn't look that bad, I'm not going to go ahead and track this one because I don't see anything going on, where they're actually actively trying to, move this token. So the activity, like I said, is coming from the boost, but once the boost is gone, the boosts only give you a 24-hour window. Once those are gone, what else are they going to do? But you can always feel free to go ahead and track this on your own, should you decide to do so. As always, just go ahead and copy, the name up here. You can copy it, then you can go into your search over here, paste it in, and then you're just going to match up, your 1 hour and 24 hour. So, and we can see we've got multiple, examples, of this token here. Now, are they all the same? No, they're not all the same because you can see this one's been launched for a day and 1 hour, 20 hours, 50 minutes, 21 hours, 57 minutes, and 7 hours, 7 minutes. Now we can, I can't scroll without leaving this, but you can go ahead and match up, your 1 hour and 24 hour, 1 hour 6.82. So where's that at? So we got 6.82 is what we're looking for. And we don't even see that. But the 24 hour here is 393. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be this one. But what we should do is let's just go ahead and let's just match up the last 4 characters, on their, on their token pair. So here we are. We got here, this is saying, let's see, pairs WRNN, and then we got this ending in pump. So, because I'm curious to see if we can actually find this one here. So let's see. WRNN. So yeah, it's going to be this one because this is what we see here, and this is what we see here. All right, so this is going to be the main one that you're looking for. So, but typically the way that you would go ahead and match it up is you would go ahead and you'd match up, your 1 hour, 24 hour. But we weren't seeing that truly match up, with anything up here. Could be because it's constantly moving. So the other way you can do that, and you get some information down here where you get pair and you get the actual token itself. So, and here we can just match up WRNN, and that's how we know that this is the one that we're looking for. Okay, so. And then if we click here, it'll just bring us right back to this token. So there you go. So even though I don't leave the contract addresses, in the description of the video, this is how you match up, the tokens that we're talking about here in the video. Okay. So we're going to close this one out. All right. But again, it's there if anybody wants to mess around with that one beyond the video post. And for this one, I still really am not crazy about this one, just not. But we're going to still take a look at the Telegram anyway. This one just gives me vibes that you've got these buys showing up here, but when you've got this kind of retracement, at least in my experience, man, unless you've got some real catalyst that go ahead and lead to this really kind of shooting up out of this area, it's going to get hit with some retracement, in my personal opinion. So just be aware of that. This one, I'd just be very skeptical about jumping in with this with any kind of significant amount of funds, just because just looking at this chart right now, you got this heavy retracement, you're seeing some buys, getting hit with a retracement, but typically with these kind of charts, you're more likely going to see this, get hit with some more sell pressure as opposed to it continuing to ride up. Okay, so let's take a look at the channel anyway. Okay, and it doesn't look like we get a portal to go ahead and engage with, so I don't see any. Oh, okay, here we are. What they should do really, because not everybody's going to go ahead and scroll up like I did, is put something here in the pinned message so they can easily just access it right away. Okay, because it did not look like there was going to be a portal. Okay, so we're looking at over 4,000 members, in this community. Huh, interesting. So as soon as I clicked to jump in there, I was immediately kicked out. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, you guys saw that happen, here in the video. So for this one, I would say leave it alone. That is a red flag to me that this is probably not a safe or legitimate token. All right, and here you can even see there was some buy pressure and then a $2,600 sell. And even though, yeah, you're still getting some buys, I think you're still going to see some more sells that are coming to this chart. But either way, we're going to leave this one alone as well. And then here, again, I've mentioned it before, this token really hasn't seen a ton of movement. It's just that it's held really, really well, ever since these bottom levels, so really kind of odd to see that. But we'll take a look at the Telegram community and see what's going on in here. So, and this is what I was talking about. So each month we lock 100% of our developer tokens. Before relocking, we donate 1% of our wallet to 1% for the planet, ensuring that our growth contributes directly to environmental causes. Small fish, big impact. This is a zero tax token. Currently, they've locked 7% of the tokens. Okay, so maybe it's people just really feel convicted, about this one. I don't know. So the last buy came in 4 minutes ago. All right. And let's see. No trending going on. Not seeing any kind of rating going on. It's not yet anyway. Okay. We're going to take a look, here in the pinned messages. So we got a bunch of pinned messages. All right. So I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. Unless it's like the radar bot maybe. But this will take you out to X. So let's see here. Well, let's take a look here. Gem pump. Okay. They're just highlighting a buy that took place. This is X. So I'm guessing this is something you can go ahead and raid. Okay. So tad late. They want to share that there's some things that have happened recently, making raiding with class in a way that is appropriate a bit trickier, maybe going to slow things down a bit. Okay. Okay, so they got some good information, that they're sharing here, with the community. They did at one point, do soul trending. Okay, so that's good to see. I mean, to me, looking at this, I think they're really working on building a solid community here. Okay, that's just my initial impressions, of this. And again, looking at the chart, I'm really encouraged by the fact that people are hanging in there, with this one. But again, like I mentioned before, and I stand by this, this is one, I don't care really what they do between today and tomorrow. I just simply want to see this token be able to hold 100K, into Monday afternoon. To me, if they can hold at least 100K into Monday afternoon, I think this has the chance to rise. So I'm not going to tell you that with definitive, with any kind of definitive guarantee, which is not something we do on this channel. But you don't typically see charts like this hold, and I've been watching this since yesterday, hold the way this has been holding, and people aren't freaking out and deciding to go ahead and sell it off. So yeah, we're going to set the alerts on this one. Interestingly enough, the only one that we've set today. But we'll set the alerts on this one. This is at 141K. And so here we go. And then we're going to go to market cap. So on the over, we're going to go ahead and set this one to 160. All right. And then on the under, like I said, I want to make sure that this can at least hold the line, for 100K. So on the under, we're going to go ahead and do 100. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, kind of been a rough day today, looking through Dexscreener. Didn't really find a lot, but again, the whole point, of the platform is we got to go ahead and filter through a lot of the noise, so, and there was a lot of junk, today. But this maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to speculate, that could be a diamond in the rough. I don't know. But I think I need to see more from this one personally. Before I would have any kind of conviction towards this, just because I've seen tokens that look like they were doing well, and then before they came out of the weekend, completely just dumped the token. And all it takes is a few, 2 or 3 big sells for this just to turn into another token where people thought it had potential and they decided to move on. So thanks so much for watching, guys, as always. And if you know somebody that might be able to get some value, out of the content being shared here, definitely share the channel, definitely share the series. That's how we're going to continue to grow and get more of this information out to more people across the YouTube platform as a whole. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next video.